And welcome to the program. It's another edition of Behind the Law right here on Bud 94.1. My name is Justin Clark. Thank you for joining us every single weeknight at 8 o'clock p.m. on our favorite radio station. Also join us on Sunday, 10 o'clock a.m. every single Sunday, TV 27 for Behind the Law on TV. And follow us at Behind the Law Radio, Instagram, Facebook. And you can join us about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Ask us any questions right there as well. To my left, my good friend and co-host, Allie Mack. Hi, Allie Mack. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Good to see you. What in the world is that in front of you?
That is my elf on a shelf.
Oh, God. Not another one of these elf on the shelf deals.
Some people won't let it go.
Well,
What are you wearing around your neck?
We're coming to you next, big boy.
Don't judge.
Right next to her left elbow is our good friend, the face of Bud 94.1 and Orlando radio legend Mick Dillon. Mick, how are you? Look,
Oh gosh.
if you're
I
listening,
got a bone there.
if you're listening to us on the radio, I highly recommend following at Behind the Law Radio and watching this program because this guy has Christmas lights all around his body. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen on a grown man.
Well,
Don't they light up? I thought I
yeah, they light up, but the batteries are running low. I've
geez.
used them too much.
I'm so disappointed in you.
Why?
I don't know.
I've got the
it's just
Christmas
weird.
spirit, and it's not even
It's
December.
only
Festive.
November.
I love it.
It's crazy is what it is.
You know,
Anyway,
Thanksgiving really came early.
Yeah, it
That's
did.
the whole
I
thing.
know.
It's
It
like,
sure
man,
did.
we
Before
had
we know it,
more
it
than
was
a
done.
week in November still. Oh.
couple questions for you, Allie Mack, number one. Now, look, we're not stalking you, but we had no choice but to notice today
Yay.
that you were at a place called Tipsy Nail Salon.
Yes.
So I figured this is some kind of play on words, Tipsy Nail Salon. Please help me understand what that means, because I imagine it's sort of I don't know.
Well, they're drunk when they do
That's
it.
what I mean.
No, it's not.
Explain it to us.
It's a nail salon, of course, and they also have a full bar there. Hence the name Tipsy Bar. But it's a company that came from down south, and the ambiance is really, really cool. We really like it. The service is top notch. I mean, and they give you a drink during
drink?
your nails. Yeah, it's not. You can't purchase drinks there. They just give you a complimentary
That's how they get
beverage
around
of your
it, yeah.
choice.
The beautiful Brianna is here as well. She will write down your questions. We'll ask them on the air. But Brianna told me that they have a full bar and you can actually purchase drinks at the bar. This was incorrect, I presume.
Not the one in Winter Park.
Okay.
But the ones down south you can.
So let me tell you, yesterday, if you were listening yesterday, you also heard that I had to get a haircut because we were shooting new TV commercials today.
And he did.
And on the air, she said, and look, all we have to do is go back and listen to the program.
Oh, I'll find it.
She said, and I quote, Justin, don't worry, Sports Clips is open till 10. Yeah. So I went to Sports Clips at 9.
It wasn't open.
Yeah. Across the country, they close at 8. There's not like one location that stays open till 10. They all close at 8 across the country.
So how'd you get your haircut?
I had to go to like one of these, terrible places. I don't know.
At 10?
Yeah. No, at 9.
Oh my
So
gosh.
someplace was open.
Yeah, some place was open. I took my daughter too, and we had there was a Publix right next door. It was one of these bad places that I don't even want to say the name, but not like one of these well-known, nice places. So it was fine. Whatever. I don't really care anyway. But
Haircut looks good.
Thank you. We went to Publix next door and bought that fake firewood though. So that was fun.
Fake
So I got some
Firewood.
the one where you just light up the bag, the easy one. Yeah. But the problem is, I'm always afraid that the flute isn't open in the fireplace.
Ooh, yeah. You got to check.
So I don't know. What do you
You'll
do?
find out real quick.
Is that
if
right?
It's not open.
So if it's not open, it's going to get smoky
Oh,
fast?
yeah,
All right, so
yeah.
mine was definitely open. I was a little nervous about that. And then you're also, when you first open the fireplace for the year, you're like, is there going to be like snakes crawling out of here
Yeah,
or
really.
squirrels or whatnot? But it worked out fine, and we had a fire. It was great.
Lots of soot.
But
dropped by.
what I will say about the haircut is I left my sunglasses on the counter there, and went to Publix, and the guy ran into Publix and found me and gave me my sunglasses back. So
What
that
a
was good.
guy. So that's a good place.
Yeah,
Plug
exactly.
it, plug it.
It was one of
That's
those times.
awesome.
It was one of those times where you tip well, and it comes back to really, really benefit you. You know what I feel like if I would have been a bad tipper,
Yeah, he
would have been
probably
like,
wouldn't have.
"Screw you, pal. I don't care.
Said
I'm not
Christmas
running."
in
Not
November.
running down the street to give you your sunglasses back, so that worked out well. Anyone go to a concert last night at Amway Center, huh?
I know, Elton John.
Did you hear about this
The
one?
worst thing.
Here.
Let's
Canceled.
say that you went to the show all fired up,
It's
ready to
horrible.
see Elton, battled the traffic to get there, got into the show. 30 minutes into it, he cancels, and you got to leave and battle more traffic
Tons
for
of people were
nothing.
posting on Facebook that they're in the Elton John concert. They're on their way. They're outside the Amway, and yeah, I heard that he canceled it this morning.
Yep.
Had a little infection in his ear.
I had the first time I found out about it was a post on social media from a friend of mine who, and this is no BS, got fired because he works at a car dealership, and he was like, "Look, I've got these Elton John tickets. I have to go." They fired him. They fired him for not going to work that night to sell some cars.
And he didn't even see the show.
So the show starts at 8 o'clock. At 8:22, they come out and say, "Sir, Elton John has an ear infection." What do you think about that? I mean,
I think he needs to hang it up now.
yeah.
I mean, he come
Terrible.
on.
I don't know.
That's not the first time stuff like that's happened.
I know,
at Elton.
exactly. We have plenty to talk about
shame.
today. We're joined as well by Mike Brodsky. He's the author of Incremental Improvements. Change your life one step at a time. We'll get to him in just a minute. But I've also noticed cold outside.
A little
right?
bit.
I mean, this is pretty cold for us, I would say.
Well, by Sunday, it's going to be in the mid-80s.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is how you get sick,
ridiculous.
though, right?
Yes.
I mean, up and
Yeah.
down and left
I'm down
and
with
right.
the flu.
It's really crazy. So we were shooting new TV commercials today, actually, for the firm. And guess inside or outside?
Outside.
Of course.
Of course we were outside. Everyone
Better
was
lighting.
complaining. You know, they have the
35
whole
degrees.
crew out there. Everyone was like shivering, and they were acting like it really wasn't bothering them. But yeah, I could tell they were upset.
We're strong. We're from
Yeah,
Florida.
exactly.
We can handle it. Right.
Brianna was nice enough to go with me. She was going to do my makeup, but they actually had a makeup artist there for me.
What?
Good.
Yeah, so that worked out well.
Makeup, huh?
You have to.
How
if you're
did you
shooting-
look?
I mean, I don't know. Probably still fat, chubby, terrible. I don't know how I always look. The
That's-
problem with TV for me is I have chubby cheeks, and you just look fat on television. That's all there is
Maybe
to
if
it.
you look at the TV at an angle.
Yeah, see, she's
accept-
she's agreeing with me. She's
no,
giving
I'm
me
just
advice.
saying, I don't think you do. But
Okay.
I think it's all
Yeah,
about
right.
the angles.
She's
right?
like,
Am I
maybe you should
right?
tilt
That's
to your
some
left.
general
Justin.
advice.
Yeah, okay.
Not just
Yeah.
you, Justin.
Yes, so it was a cold TV show shoot today. If you have any questions, 321-282-1055. Mick Dillon, I have a question for you, actually.
Go.
I have a health issue going on, and you're a couple years older than me, and I need your advice on this because I'm embarrassed.
Okay.
And just because it's you and I talking, no one's listening. It's.
Is this going to be a good
I
thing
think,
for me?
I think this is the
or
right
what?
place for me to
Okay.
get this out in the open. So, I'm 39 years old. And occasionally now, once out about every, say, 2 weeks, I get a little black hair in my ear. Is this like a really bad sign of things to come? Are they going to start coming more often? Because I'm scared to death. I don't want to have to shave my ears. So please tell me what I have to look forward to on this.
Well, first of all, to answer the questions, yes and yes.
Oh, God.
It's coming.
So you have to like shave your ears?
Well, if you can get in there with the tweezers,
Uh-huh.
sure.
Man.
Like right now, I got one right there.
I'm scared. I'm really nervous about this. I don't like this
It
at
is.
all.
It's
just
part
one
of
the-
growing old, though.
It's happening.
And also, when I get my hair cut, I see more and more grays on the side too.
Somebody suggested using Nair
In your ear?
In your ear.
Ugh.
Get
I don't know.
electrolysis done
Thinking
in
on
your
it.
ear.
Yeah, if I have $1 million, yeah.
So, Allie Mac, what are your thoughts? We'll get the female perspective. Not on the
About
ear.
ear
No,
hair?
I don't want to hear that. What about your husband? Does he ever tell you this or no?
Does he tell me it?
Yeah.
I'm the one that's plucking it.
Really?
Yo!
Okay, good.
He's 47 years old.
So it's not just me.
I'm
It's
like,
not just
honey,
me.
it's like you're
Excellent.
growing a lot of hair there.
All right, so the silver fox idea. Are you attracted to men who are getting a little grayish or no?
I have always been attracted to
Really? See, that's okay then. I can deal with this gray on the side popping out a little
Where?
bit.
Yeah.
Look,
Where?
I mean, if in the sun you can
Oh.
really see it.
Yeah, I see it now.
I watch it. But that's okay. All right, so there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
then.
it's you have to look
You're
your
fine.
age sometimes.
Embrace
but-
it. You need to embrace
Yes,
it, or get it
embrace it.
highlighted. You know,
Nah, I
one
don't
or
think
the
I
other.
don't think I want to do that. Really, I don't think I care that much.
Nah.
It doesn't look bad. Just
All right.
embrace it, and
I'm
you
in.
know.
I'm
You're
fine
in?
with it.
Okay.
It's fine with me.
Just keep playing basketball.
I
You'll be
did
all
this
right.
morning,
All right.
5:30 a.m. It's pretty early.
Yeah.
5:30 a.m. Busy day,
cold.
crazy day. It was cold this
I
morning.
didn't
at
know there was
5:30.
a 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
too.
no, absolutely. I'll start calling you in the morning. I'm on my
Oh
way,
yeah,
dude.
thank you. Yeah.
Shoot you a couple of text messages. Make sure you're up. If you like, I can do that.
No.
It's Behind the Law, Bud 94 1-321-282-1055. Follow us at Behind the Law Radio. Mick Dolan is here. Allie Mack, the beautiful Brianna. My name is Justin Clark, welcoming to the program today a good friend of the show, good friend of Brianna's, I know, Mike Brodsky. Mike, what's up, man? Thanks for being here. How are you?
Good to be here. Doing well. Thank you.
So tell me about this book, first of all.
Sure.
I'm always fascinated with people who write books. Like, what really comes over you someday and you say, I'm going to sit down and write a book?
You know, the funny thing is that it never really started off as a book. It was actually more of a collection of notes. I work as a financial advisor, and what I was finding was a lot of folks were asking me questions about, obviously they asked me about money-related issues, financial planning-related issues, but what I found was they were starting to ask me questions about things that had absolutely nothing to do with money and nothing to do with financial planning. And I found myself starting to take some notes just in terms of being able to sort of craft a message that I could deliver when I was talking to different groups, talking to different companies about maybe their 401k and talking to the employees. And as I started to take these notes, I realized it was kind of, over time, sort of becoming almost a book-like structure. But the funny thing was, at the firm that I worked with previously, I really couldn't have put a book together. I wasn't allowed to have outside business interests at the time. When our team then moved to a different firm, I found out that I could, as long as I got the industry approvals and got compliance approval, which was like an 8-month compliance review by our company just before the book was able to come out. I'm sure as an attorney you can relate to that.
Oh, yeah, please.
Anyway, once I kind of realized that I could do a book, I kind of went back to these notes I had been collecting and kind of thought maybe I can put a book together, and that's where it came from.
Financial advisor. A lot of new regulations, it seems. I have a lot of friends who are in similar businesses, and they're saying, like, Justin, you have no idea since this Madoff thing happened, and really just a lot of people were taken down by defrauding people, that the business has really changed. How would you describe that change in the financial services world?
I mean, it's definitely a change in the sense that, let's face it, when you say you're a financial advisor, that can mean a lot of different things. And there are a lot of people that call themselves financial advisors, and you'll find all ranges of different experience levels and work for different companies and offer different products or vehicles to invest in. I guess when you talk about a lot of the changes, you're probably talking about sort of a fiduciary standard. In other words, being able to go to your client and make sure that you're offering advice that is in the client's best interest, that it's not about what's going to benefit the financial advisor, but what's really going to do the right thing for the client. And I think there are a lot of people in the industry that for a long time were not necessarily doing what was right for the client. And certainly Bernie Madoff would be a prime example of that. But even to a smaller extent, there were folks that maybe didn't always have their client's best interests at heart. I'd like to believe that as a financial advisor, I've always been focused on doing the right thing for our client, trying to sort of have that fiduciary standard in mind in anything that we did for our client. So for us, it hasn't really been a major change in terms of some of the new regulations. We're just kind of continuing to do the same things we've always done. But we've definitely seen a lot of changes in the industry because people have had to respond to these new regulations.
That is Mike Brodsky, the author of Incremental Improvements. We have plenty of questions about his new book and his life, the mustard seed, all sorts of ventures that he's involved in right on the other side of this break. Behind the Law, Bud 94.1.
You've got a chapter for just about everything in here.
We tried to, yeah, absolutely. It's all in there.
We got to talk about politics, I think.
Oh, great. Sure.
Well, I mean, the importance of it, and
yes.
you address it. It's a short chapter, but still.
That's right. That's right.
You know, your advice. Well, and no pictures, though.
Yes.
Darn it.
That's right. That's right. We need more pictures.
Look at the pictures.
Sure.
I will say that a few well-placed pictures might not have been too bad.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not sure what I would have put in there, but...
well, think Allie could think of something. Sure.
Let me draw something right now.
Second edition, that's right. The sequel. A lot more pictures.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
No, or better yet, Incremental Improvements, the picture book.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not a bad idea.
I like that.
I like
There
that.
you go.
All right,
that
you
works.
guys ready?
Sure.
3 more segments, I think, right? I've been screwing that up lately.
Yeah.
I've been
That
ending
one
the
seemed-
show.
That one seemed kind of long, though. Didn't
No,
it?
did it?
I don't know. Maybe you got the
Was
clock.
it a little too long for you?
Yeah,
You need to
sorry,
shorten
Mick.
I'm missing my nap today, so
Welcome back to the program. It is Behind the Law, Bud 94.1. Justin Clark here with you, as we are every single weekday at 8 o'clock p.m. on our favorite radio station. Mick Dolan, what's coming up, by the way? I know we have a lot of events.
big time event
Go
this
ahead.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah?
Dolly's 10th annual Musicians Reunion Benefit for the USO and
Beautiful.
for Toys for Tots.
Where's Dolly's?
Well, Dolly's not it's Muldoon's
Well, why did you say Dolly's? I'm confused.
because it's Dolly's event.
oh,
Dolly
okay.
Sherrill puts
All
this
right.
thing together, and
Okay.
she's done it for 10
What
years.
did you think? Allie Mac, did you think it was at a place called Dolly's?
Yes.
Okay.
Don't be hating on me.
I'm not
now.
hating. I just want to make sure our audience is very clear. We want them to come this weekend.
It's at Muldoon's Saloon.
Okay.
It's on Aloma in Winter Park, right there at a Goldenrod.
Yeah.
And it's an all-day event. 24 bands, 3 stages.
Definitely show up. I just think it's funny that you say, "Oh yeah, it's at Dolly's." Like we know Dolly's events at Muldoon's or something, right? You just expect
Let's
us
go
to
get
know.
the tape and see what I actually said there. Come on.
Well, welcome,
Anyway, it's a great event.
welcome back to the show, Mike.
Bring a toy.
Yeah,
Bring a toy.
Welcome back to the show, Mike Brodsky, the author of Incremental Improvement. So, describe this book for us, Mike. You know, I think a lot of people are going to want to reach out and get this, but how would you really describe this book?
The best way I can describe it is if you think about, especially here we are at the end of the year, everybody starts to think about their New Year's resolutions, right? And when you think about New Year's resolutions, usually it's something really big, like, oh, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to lose 20 pounds, or these kinds of big resolutions that people focus on. Those tend to be the very popular ones, the most common ones. But at the same time, if you also look at it, by the time we get to Groundhog Day, 80% of people have already given up on their New Year's resolutions. They just abandon them completely. So what the book really focuses on is getting people to think smaller. Don't worry about the big picture. I mean, it's important to have an idea about what you're ultimately aiming for, but think smaller. I mean, for someone who wants to be a millionaire, how about saving $25 a week? Or how about for someone who says, I want to run a marathon? Well, that's great, but how about maybe just taking a jog around the neighborhood and kind of starting small and thinking about what you're actually willing to commit to kind of get where you're trying to get to. For someone who's trying to lose 20 pounds, figure out a way to cut 150 calories out of your diet every day or something like that. Something that's achievable, something that's doable. And once you are able to have success in sort of taking that smaller step, then it's a little bit easier to sort of build on that incremental improvement with another incremental improvement and just kind of keep going in the direction you're trying to get to. And it just makes it a little bit easier for everybody.
So smaller goals.
Yeah,
Smaller
small
goals.
steps.
Not
Yeah.
Absolutely.
From here to 12
Doable. It's doable.
It's doable.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
So instead
fully
of New
agree.
Year's resolutions, think about new days resolutions. What can I do today to make my life a little better? What can I do today to make someone else's life a little better? What can I do today to make the world a little better?
Got it. You also worked in the news business in your past life.
Yes.
Tell me about that a little bit, Mike.
Sure. Going all the way back to 1993 to 1996, I was a television news producer with the NBC affiliate out of West Palm Beach. So that was quite an experience. Met a lot of interesting people. Had some great experiences with that, and has kind of moved my way up through the organization, producing different newscasts, and
You were always a producer, never on air.
I was always behind the scenes. Yeah, for
The most
part,
important
but-
part, really.
Well, I was the one kind of putting the words in the anchors' mouths and that sort of thing, but and kind of making sure that what ended up on air kind of worked. But
He was the one trying to corral anchors' egos.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what he was doing.
Yeah,
That's a
bring
big
them,
part.
rein them in.
Let's
That's a
be
big
honest
part of
here.
it. That's right.
So you were actually, let me ask you, I'm just kind of
Sure.
off the subject, but
Yeah.
do you actually, they're wearing headphones and you can actually talk to them in the ear?
Oh yes.
And
oh yes.
you could actually dictate what they're saying. I saw that in
Yes.
a movie one time. I was like,
yes.
that can't be true.
Yeah. Well, you're either typing the stuff that they're going to read off the teleprompter, or you're kind of whispering things in their ear if news is breaking. You're trying to get the information to them one way or another. So yeah, it's pretty neat to have that
Yeah,
kind of
really.
impact. But one of the superpowers I sort of developed was I will say that anchors hate it if you have typos in the teleprompter.
Oh,
they
don't
hate
do that. Yeah.
So I can spot a typo from a mile away. I mean, if I see anything like that, I catch it immediately.
Proofreading.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, really good at proofreading. Yeah.
So other than you wanted to make more money, how do you go from being a television news producer to financial advisor?
It is sort of an unusual career path, but maybe I should sort of go backwards and really what I had studied. I went to Yale University undergraduate, majored in economics, where I had an opportunity to study with David Swenson, who manages the Yale Endowment, or Robert Schiller, who was a Nobel Prize winner for economics. Went on to get my MBA from Duke University. So I guess the real question a lot of people would ask me is, well, what were you doing in TV? Why did you decide to go into TV? And it was at Duke University that I actually started a television show that is still going on today. It's 28 years later. It's still taking place, still on the air. A show called Fuquavision. That is really just a sketch comedy show, which I know you don't normally associate with a business school, but it's actually one of the things that kind of separates Duke University's Fuqua School of Business from a lot of other business schools that are out there. That's what got me into TV, and so when I came out of business school, I decided I wanted to sort of go in that direction, and I think when I showed up at WPTV, they kind of looked at me and thought, you have a Yale degree in economics. And an MBA
what are you doing here?
What are you doing here? But yeah, we'll give you a shot. If you can do it, great. So I kind of proved to them pretty quickly that I was able to get the job done, and they gave me that opportunity. And then, of course, after a few years, it was around the time I was getting married that I realized maybe it's time to get a real job. And also, once I got to Orlando, I knew this is a great place to kind of plant my roots and raise a family. So
even in TV, they say, when are you going to get a real job?
Kind of. I mean, it was more.
You thought it was just radio, huh?
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, I mean, TV is tough. I mean, I think if I had stayed in TV, I would have had to have been willing to keep moving around the country from market to market to make that work. And I kind of realized Orlando's a good place to be. And so I sort of got married. We went on our honeymoon, came back on a Saturday. By Monday, I was starting as a financial advisor in Winter Park with Smith Barney. So that was back in 1997, and I've been doing it ever since.
Now, if Duke were to play Kansas right now on the basketball court, who wins?
Oh, Duke. I mean, the team is, let's face it, we've got 3 guys that are going to be top 5 lottery picks. I mean, Zion Williamson's amazing, R.J. Barrett.
But Gonzaga has already beaten them.
Right.
I know. That's true. And that was, I don't know if you saw the game,
So
that
there's
was
hope.
a tough one. They got off to a slow start.
There's hope.
So I'm a Tennessee alum, right?
Yes.
So Tennessee played. He's a big Kansas Jayhawk fan,
Okay.
by the way. We played Kansas the other night.
Rock
Kansas
chalk.
beat us in overtime.
Great game.
Guess who we play next week?
Kentucky.
Gonzaga.
Oh,
Yeah.
Gonzaga.
Yeah,
Really?
So we're gonna have. I mean, we have a tough preseason.
Another
schedule.
tournament?
No, it's
just-
like some game. I don't know what it is. Something in Arizona.
That's the
neutral
great
court.
thing about those tournaments is
Yeah.
they get
Yes.
the
So much
big
fun.
guns right
Yeah.
there at the
Yeah.
beginning of the season.
Yeah.
It's great.
I know you've been involved, and Allie Mack, I think you should ask Mike as well. First of all, you're listening to Behind the Law on Bud 94.1. Allie Mack, why don't you ask Mike a little bit? I mean, a lot of charity work that he's done here as well. I mean, I think that's really important, and obviously a big part of your life, Mike. Allie Mack, ask a little bit about that.
Well, I know you are part of the Pro Bowl. Is that what it is?
You think you're talking about World Sports Alumni, but
The World Sports Alumni, yeah.
Yes,
Well,
or you could say maybe even Florida Citrus Sports, which I guess
Florida
is the
Citrus.
organization that we will be hosting the Pro Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mustard Seed of Central Florida is one of the charities I've been involved with. This is my 3rd year on the board. I'm currently the treasurer of the Mustard Seed of Central Florida. For those who are not familiar with the Mustard Seed, it's a furniture and clothing bank here in Central Florida. And so we help a lot of folks that just kind of need that
Great
extra.
people.
A great organization. If you haven't looked into it, check out mustardseedfla.org, and you can learn more about the organization and how to help. But if you wanted to chat about some of the other organizations, we can.
I always follow you on Facebook as
Yes.
well, and I always see you out and about as well. So
Yeah.
I know that you're involved with a lot of different charities as well, like
Yes.
the
Yeah.
Jewish Chamber of Commerce as well. You're
Right.
part of the board of directors there.
Yep, that's
and
correct.
then you're part of the board of directors of World Sports Alumni,
Right.
which is really cool. I've seen you a lot of events there too.
Yes, World Sports Alumni, I should point out, is technically not a not-for-profit. It's actually a for-profit organization, but we represent a lot of professional athletes that are now kind of looking to make speaking engagements and a lot of sponsorship opportunities. So certainly for any company that's looking to connect with former professional athletes, whether it's a former heavyweight champion or whether it's a former NFL athlete or an NBA athlete or other sports, we have a lot of folks. If you go to worldsportsalumni.com and click on members, you can actually see a list of who's currently a member, and we're adding new athletes just about every day. And you may also be talking about, on the not-for-profit side, I guess, maybe Florida Citrus Sports, which is a not-for-profit organization that I've been a member of for several years now. Actually, right after this, I have to head over to the team selection committee meeting, and we'll be talking a little bit about the Camping World Bowl and the Citrus Bowl coming up.
I know all about your scam over there, buddy. So what they do, we join this group, Florida Citrus Sports, so we can go travel around and watch football games, so we can report back here and say, whoa, we really think we should invite the Auburn Tigers, or we think it should be LSU.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know you're doing a good thing, but it's funny because
It's for a good cause. But
It's
yes,
for
if
a
you're a
good
sports
cause.
fan, if you're a sports fan, it's great.
Yeah.
And another good cause would be to give your friends tickets to these events.
Here.
Available for purchase at the website or
come
CB.
on now.
Yeah, exactly.
You have an event January 25th at Ace Cafe.
Yeah, that's right. You're talking about the for World Sports Alumni. We actually have a Pro Bowl party that'll be taking place on January 25th at Ace Cafe. Go to worldsportsalumni.com if you'd like more information. I don't think they've actually started listing and promoting that event quite yet.
Okay.
But with the Pro Bowl coming up on January 27th on Sunday, at Camping World Stadium here in Orlando. A couple of nights before, if you want to meet some other professional athletes, there'll be a great party. We had a fun time last year at this event, and we're going to do it again Friday, January 25th at Ace Cafe.
So you're a sports guy. I mean, it
sports
seems
fan.
like you're a pretty big sports guy. Also,
Yeah.
season ticket holder for the Magic.
Sure.
Yeah, you went to Duke. I mean, anyone that goes to Duke's going to like basketball too, right?
Had season tickets for the first 2 national championships. I couldn't have timed it any better.
Yeah.
It was great.
How do you feel about the Magic this year, then?
Well, I'll say that I'm
doing
cautiously.
better.
They're doing better. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic that
Yeah.
they'll kind of sneak into maybe the 7 or 8 seed. I know my son would like to see them tank so he can maybe get some of those one of those Duke prospects, maybe. But at the same time, it looks like they'll probably finish right around 500-ish. Not that that's great, but compared to where we've been, that's maybe an
Sure,
improvement.
absolutely.
Yeah.
My biggest question, I think, is how do you become a member of a board of directors? You know, it seems like you're a
That's a good
member of
question,
many board of directors, and
Yes.
a lot of successful people. That's kind of like makes them even more successful. You know, you put it on your website, that sort of thing. I think we should ask that question right on the other side of this break. Behind the Law, Bud 94.1.
Great. Yeah, we could talk about that.
So who's going to be in the? Who are you going to pick for the Camping World Bowl? Come on.
Can't say anything right now.
Somebody-
but,
Now, there's
yeah.
a rumor going around
Yeah.
about Florida versus UCF in a major bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been some speculation about that. Because that it looks like obviously they're both going to be in one of the Big Six bowl games. So the question is, will it be like maybe the Peach or the Fiesta or something like that?
Yeah.
It's a possibility. It would be an interesting matchup. A lot of people seem to think that maybe it really won't happen. I think it's more people would love to see it happen.
Sure. Yeah.
But coming up, our kickoff game for Florida Citrus Sports is actually going to be UF versus Miami. So that's going to be a pretty big game too, coming up in September this fall, and that'll be exciting.
Fully attired.
Flashing
today.
lights
festive.
is Orlando radio
They-
legend Mick
They
Dolan.
still work.
You know, you don't become a legend just by being normal, do you, Mick?
No,
No.
you can't. No.
You got to really
It's
be
no
out there.
fun to be normal.
I
Come
guess
on.
you're right. Listen to us every single weeknight at 8 o'clock p.m. right here on Bud 94.1. Watch the TV show this Sunday and every Sunday, 10 a.m., TV 27. And feel free to join us at 4 o'clock at Behind the Law Radio on Instagram, Facebook, all your social media outlets. And you've got to ask us any questions right there. You can also call me, 321-282-1055. What's up, guys? How are you? Everything good?
Freezing.
You okay? You're going to get sick? Everyone's a little sniffly in here.
Well, yeah. When it's 50 degrees inside here, yeah, it's kind of cold.
Do you know all
I
of
got
our
3 layers on.
All
here.
of our friends in Boston are making fun of us right now, saying,
Oh, yeah.
"Hey, stop
We're
your
wimps.
whining."
We are wimps.
But I do think that the longer I've been here, 12 years now, something like that. The first 5, I was like, "You guys are wusses," but now my blood has thinned out, so to speak. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but
I think
it
it
certainly has.
It's in your head, but
Yeah, I
still.
think so.
Do you guys have the heater on in your house already? Or
No,
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 No heater?
Absolutely not. Did you
Really?
turn it on?
Really?
I have my
turn it
heater
on?
on right now.
No.
73
for the little doggies?
for my dogs, and I don't want to get home and be cold. But
That's
Justin,
what-
speaking about, we take live calls. I actually
Yeah.
had somebody ask me if I call the show, will it? Will
Yeah,
will
of
I
course.
be on live? I
Absolutely.
said absolutely.
Yeah.
I said so.
Well, it depends
I
on
hope
it
they-
depends on your call. If it's a bad call,
Well-
I'm not
Do we have a
taking it.
screener to?
We do.
Yeah. Okay.
Audie at the front.
Oh.
But
Oh,
definitely,
screen the
if
calls.
there's if there's a
course.
caller that
You can
wants to
always
reach
call.
out to us, but they have a question regarding our guest, or
Feel
they
free.
want to ask us,
Yeah.
definitely. So
It'll be a little
good
easier
question.
starting January 1st when we're on our new studio. We'll have it set up a little bit better.
Oh, so we have a date now.
Yeah, January 1, the new
January
studio is
1st.
fully ready. I'm going to kick everybody out of my office here. I'm tired of my office becoming a radio studio at 4 o'clock every day. I mean, I love seeing you guys.
Oh, I was going to say.
No, I really do. If I didn't see you guys, I would miss you. Like, when we're not on the air, I do miss you some.
A little bit.
Yeah, I really
A
do.
little bit.
Really, really do. All right. So today, as a very special guest, you know him, Mike Brodsky. He's the author of Incremental Improvements. He's on the board of directors of many charitable and for-profit organizations around town. Mike, let me ask you this. Being on a board of directors is good for the resume. You know, it's a resume builder, no doubt about it, but you're also giving back. It's your time that you're giving up also. But how do you really become a member of a board of directors?
For me, I sort of fell into it. The first board I was ever invited onto was the International Fringe Festival here in Orlando, and just because I've always been a fan of theater and that sort of thing, I had the opportunity to join that organization. That was the first time I got involved with the board of directors. Since then, I had been invited onto the JCC board, the Jewish Community Center of Orlando. Also involved with Community Advisory Board for Hospice of the Comforter in the past.
So they invite you.
Usually they invite me, but at the same time, to some extent, I'm also, in certain cases, I've kind of put out feelers. So, and that's something for someone who's really looking to get involved with an organization. If you know that there's an organization that you really feel strongly about, get to know people who are on those boards of directors and just ask them, what would it take for me to join the board?
Yeah.
Or, the first step might be just to kind of volunteer for the organization, make sure that they start to recognize who you are. So any not-for-profit organization probably has some opportunity for you to volunteer or to give in some way to that organization.
Yeah.
Get involved. If there's an organization you feel very strongly about, that's step one. And then getting to know other people within the organization and trying to figure out how to get onto the board. And then there's usually an application process and an interview, but
it's worth it.
It's worth it. It's definitely, sure, it's a resume builder, but as Allie knows, I'm very involved in a lot of networking, just kind of getting my name out there in the community. So anything I can do to just meet new people and kind of spread the Mike Brodsky brand ultimately is a good thing. So being involved in the charitable organizations has been it's been very rewarding. I mean, it's just a great opportunity to give back to the community in different ways. I also currently run the Yale Alumni Association of Central Florida and the Yale Ivy Club of Central Florida. So for anybody who's out there who happens to have a connection with any of the Ivy League schools, please reach out to me if you're not already getting my emails. But
so all Ivy League schools are involved in this.
All of the Ivies, and technically we also have the Seven Sisters, and at the present time, Duke, MIT, and Stanford have also kind of
So I have a question.
Yes.
You're involved with so many organizations.
Yeah.
When do you have time for you? For family?
I tend to keep pretty busy, but
you guys travel a lot too, and you travel with your family as well to different.
We do, and I guess you see some of the Facebook pictures, I suppose.
I'm a stalker.
But
it seems that way.
I always stalk people.
And feel free, anybody that's out there, you can look for Michael Brodsky or it's Facebook.com/Mike Brodsky FL. You can find my personal page. The author page would be /incremental improvements, and the financial advisor page would be /michael.e.brodsky. But in terms of time, I think it's just time management. Basically, I'll say this: my head hits the pillow at 11:30 p.m. By 5:30 a.m., I'm up and going for the day, and in between, I'm always doing something. So when it's family time, it's 100% family time. When it's time to be working, it's 100% work time. If I'm volunteering or involved with something else, I'm just committed to whatever it is at that moment.
Time management.
Yeah.
Time management.
Here's my deal with the board of
Resolution.
directors stuff.
Yes.
So with the board of directors, people come to me all the time and they say, not all the time, once a month or something, someone will be in here, I'll meet someone, we'd really like you to join our board. Please do it. I'm like, yeah, sure, absolutely. But then I want to play hard to get after that, and I'm not gonna follow up with them. I'm not gonna call them and say, hey, you remember you wanted me to be on that board? I wait on them to call me again. And then I don't hear from them again.
How's that working? Yeah, I was going to say, how's that working out?
Here's my biggest fear. I'm afraid that they're going to call me, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to join your board. Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. But then, that third Tuesday of the month rolls around, and I work all day, and then I do this show with you guys, and I'm like, oh, I actually really have to go to this thing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
it's
scared
one more
of that.
thing to do.
Yeah. So, it is an obligation. You got to show up.
It is. You have to.
Well,
commit.
you're ahead of
Right.
me.
What do you
Because
mean?
I've never even been offered it.
Well, that's messed up.
They go, no, you can help, but no.
Hey, Brianna, are you
more.
listening? Brianna, what we should do, we should create a behind-the-law board of directors. Don't you think?
I think so.
I think. Can you
there.
set that up for us somehow? And we should have a meeting every month at the Applebee's.
Now, what are the
When you
qualifications?
do
though?
Applebee's,
How would we be qualified for
look,
this?
we'll make it real easy.
Lower the bar.
Don't even worry about it. You and I will both slide in easily.
Gosh, my first board membership. Wow.
All right, so we need.
I've made it.
Yeah, so we can set that up.
cool.
So behind the law board of
have goals.
directors, perfect. And
Business
we can put a-
advisory board.
Yeah, business advisory
Right.
board. You listen to him.
That's
I like that.
one of the things. One of the things I talk about when I talk to different companies and organizations is exactly that concept. And it's all you got to do is take some folks out to dinner, and they'll tell you all the ideas about how to
Boom.
become a better lawyer and run a
Yeah.
better practice.
Does
and come up
App-
with some clever ideas.
Does Applebee's have a private room?
No,
Okay.
I was gonna say.
Okay.
Because it's right
I
down
don't
the
believe
street.
they do.
Okay. Dang it. Well, we gotta have, I think a private room is necessary.
Yeah.
Anywhere around here with a private room we can set this up once a month?
Well, there's
A
got to be.
hotel.
There's got to be. Well, yeah, there's a
Okay.
hotel right across.
Pilar's gonna be so mad. She's gonna be so angry. You have no idea.
Well, we could put her on the board, too.
Yeah, oh, that's a great idea.
go.
Good. That's a good idea. Very brilliant. You're listening to Behind the Law on Bud 94.1, joined by Mike Brodsky. He's the author of Incremental Improvements, amongst many, many other things. Mike, let's say I want to pick up your book.
Yes.
And you're going to sign this for me later, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
How would I go about finding this book?
You can find it at Amazon and just search for Incremental Improvements or search for Mike Brodsky. You can go to Barnes & Noble. You can also go to, if you have a Kindle, if you're a Kindle user, you can find it. You can download it to your Kindle. Or if you're an iBooks user, you can download it from the iTunes store as well.
Talk about financial advising for a moment, because there's certainly a whole portion of our community who went through the scandals, the fraud that they've seen. You know, they've seen it on the news over the last decade, essentially. And they're a little confused as to who they can trust with their money. What do you tell your clients? How do your clients know that you're the man, that you're the trustworthy guy who's going to put them in the right stuff?
I think at the end of the day, ultimately, it's my background certainly helps out, and really the conversations that you're having with the client. And I think it's really important that ultimately there's that transparency, that clients understand what it is that you're doing for them and how you're doing it, and that they can kind of understand what it is ultimately that they're investing in. But for anybody, if you feel uncertain about your financial advisor, that should be a red flag, and maybe it's time to start looking to meet some other financial advisors. But ultimately, I think you just have to do your due diligence, do your homework, and figure out who it is that you're working with. And
It's
what
kind
they're
of like a
offering.
bedside manner for that doctors
part of it.
have. That
Sure, absolutely.
Your financial advisor should make you feel comfortable
Yeah.
and be confident. Yeah.
Let's say I'm investing $150,000 in a long-term thing. I don't really ever need to see the money. It's purely for investment, okay, for my retirement. They've made it so easy now with apps and all these other gadgets to have instant information or instant access to all of your information where you can like track this stock every single day, every morning. I'm on a long-term plan.
Yeah.
We know the markets are volatile. We've been up, we've been down. Even
really?
here lately, it's been very volatile.
Crazy.
How often will you tell your clients they should actually look at their accounts for this long-term strategy?
Well, I mean, ultimately, the clients that are usually working with me oftentimes entrust me to sort of do all of that for them. So some clients are watching it literally every day. Other clients, if they're lucky, they might open up a statement every several months or maybe once a year or something like that. But ultimately, what we're doing for our clients is taking care of all of that for them. For someone who just wants to go online and kind of invest on their own, just on a whim, there are plenty of ways to do it on their own. But folks are really coming to us or professional financial advisors because they want that ongoing advice. They want someone to kind of do it for them. They want that professional angle.
Here's my let me see if I can ask this a little more succinctly. I'm investing long term, right? But I get nervous. I have 150 grand sitting there, and I see it going up. I mean, should I be looking every day to where I make bad decisions? Then I'm like, oh, it's going down. I better get right out of here. Or should I really kind of let it play out and not be looking every day at this long term stuff?
Well, that's a good point. One of the things we tell all of our clients is if you're going to be investing into the markets, you really have to be willing to give that money time to work for you. So anything that you're putting into the markets is really money that's intended to be longer term. If you needed the money next week or next month, it wouldn't be in the market in the first place. It would be sitting in a savings account, checking account, money market, something like that. So that's part of it, is really identifying for the individual, what are your goals, what are your objectives, what are we trying to accomplish, and then what's the right investment strategy to get you where you need to be over a period of time.
More investment advice with Mike Brodsky, Managing Director with Ameriprise Financial, right on the other side of this break. It's Behind the Law on Bud 94.1. What am I missing? We got one more segment.
What is the event?
Let's
What
see.
do we not-
What should we talk
Ties?
about? What was that again?
No, we're talking about.
Oh, an
Yep.
event.
Okay.
And we're back alive. Welcome back to the program. One final segment of Behind the Law, Bud 94.1. One more time, what events do we have coming up here? Mick Dolan? Okay, Mick, let's go first. You talk about the Sunday event, Dolly's World.
No.
No, it's not Dolly's.
Dolly's 10th annual Musicians Reunion benefit for USO and for Toys for Tots.
Got it. Bring an unwrapped
toy.
Unwrapped.
but new
Right.
toy. I made that mistake yesterday. I'll never live that one down.
Don't clean out the closet. Just
yesterday
buy a
they
new
were
toy.
talking. Yesterday they were talking about bringing an unwrapped gift, and I thought that meant like used gift. I didn't
Take
know.
it out of the wrapper.
That's
and-
okay. Look, you guys can give me as much crap as you want. I don't
Re-gift.
care. All right.
It's a re-gift.
Yeah, but don't do that. It's got to be
No.
a new gift, but not wrapped.
Please.
Okay, now
Yeah.
I get it. I have a full understanding of all this now.
24 bands, 3 stages, food, drink, friends. It's a great.
Yeah.
You'll see people that you haven't seen in years.
Social media whiz and the owner of Allie Mack Consulting, Allie McCarroll. Allie Mack, what do we have coming up?
Well, we have on December 1st, Guys with Ties. We went on during our holiday edition. We had Guys with Ties. They're having Hope for the Holidays event over at Eve in downtown. And that's another event where you bring an unwrapped toy.
Uh-oh.
No,
Brianna's
unwrapped toy.
giving
There's
you the
going to be a fee at the door, or they can purchase tickets online. Go to Guys with Ties or find it at Hope for the Holidays on Eventbrite. Guyswithties.org. And on December 12th, we have the first annual Holiday Jam benefiting Toys for Tots, brought to you by Injury Assistance Law Firm. And that's at World of Beer from 6 to 9. And Toys for Tots is having a ton of different events all throughout the month of December. So I believe the website is toysfortots.org. And go to their website for Orlando Osceola and get the events there.
I have absolutely no earthly idea how you guys do it. I mean, work all
Do it.
day and then go to these things. And good job. First time on the radio, McDonald. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do all these nighttime events. It's crazy to me.
I
get
pick
home,
and choose.
I get home about 7. Let me tell you about my nights.
God,
I get
it's
home about
horrible.
7, 7:30, even sometimes 6:30. I have an 8-month-old daughter who is nuts. I mean, out of control, this daughter. She's like Dale Earnhardt Jr. on this walker thing now. You know the walker? She's in this walker. I mean, she's zooming around the house.
Freedom.
But I told you earlier about having cats and a Christmas tree. How about having an 8-year-old on a walker and a Christmas tree? And we have a crate for the little dogs that they sleep in at night, and she unlocks it all the time because their food stays in there. She knows how to open it up, and then the other dogs go in and eat all the food, too.
She doesn't eat any of the food. does
No. I mean,
don't
she
think she
probably
can
would,
reach it.
but I mean, she's out of control. She's a sweet little thing, but she is crazy. She's literally Dale Earnhardt Jr. on this walker. I mean, just flying through the house. I didn't know any little kid could go that fast. So I don't know how you have the energy. I get home and it's like, woo. And then I'm
Well, I
always
don't
like,
have a little kid.
Well, that's a good point.
I mean,
it's tough. I'm in a different phase of life,
I have
I guess.
big kids.
Big kids, yeah. Mike Brodsky is here, the author of Incremental Improvements. And I know, Mick, you had some questions about the book during the break.
It's
Ask
great
them right now.
I mean, there's so many chapters. They're not very long. This book, it's not like the Bible. You know, you'll be able to. Well, it
It's
is kind
not?
of actually,
supposed
but
to
it's
be.
not as long.
Yeah.
Okay,
a
and
little
there's
short.
chapters
Let's
on
go to-
everything. There's politics, fears and
I have one.
phobias. There's a good one. Health, stress
And because
management.
it's smaller chapters, it's, it's
I mean,
probably gets right to the
But
point. I've read
politics is
these.
interesting, Mike. Now,
Yeah. Let's
What
see,
do you
let's see his thoughts.
what do you say about politics?
Page 105.
Ultimately, I think, let's face it, both parties need to start figuring out what's for the best of the country and trying to work together rather
But
than
for your
dividing.
finances,
Yes.
which party would you? There you go.
You know, I think the fact that we have some gridlock in that you have different parties controlling the House and the Senate and
Yeah.
the executive branch, that's actually probably best if you look back historically, but that's another story. But just to sort of come back to the chapter issue, one thing I tell people is, obviously with the book, a lot of times people feel it can be a little overwhelming to read the entire book cover to cover. Don't feel like you have to read it cover to cover. If you read chapter 1 and chapter 2 and maybe kind of jump around to the chapters that are of interest, you want to read the chapter on politics, that's great. If you want to read the chapter that's on time management or the financial chapter, that's fantastic. But really focus on what's of interest to you as a reader.
So who's richer, Democrats or Republicans?
Look at him
Put you
drilling
on
the
the spot.
question.
I think there are probably wealthy folks and that are members of both parties, but Ultimately,
Somehow I knew you were going to say that.
you know, I think that the reality is what I'd like to see in this country is just for folks to really take a closer look at all of the issues and rather than just kind of following the party line blindly. I think that's important.
Definitely. Think for yourself.
I'll leave it at that.
Think for
for
yourself.
yourself. That's very important. Yes.
I have two questions and maybe even a statement from me, because I strongly believe that the biggest problems that we have financially in this country right now, and this is really going to happen over the next few years, two biggest problems that I see. Let me know what you see when you're dealing with people's financial problems, just like I am. You're talking finances with people all day long. Here are the issues that I see in this country. Number one, student loan debt. Student loan debt is killing people. And it is not just young kids out of college. We're talking about back in the day when the economy crashed, even older people were going back to school because they couldn't get jobs. Now they have $200,000 in debt for crappy jobs. Number two, I literally don't understand how working families pay $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 a month for health insurance. I just don't get
insane.
it. It's crazy. I mean, someone making 40, 50 grand a year trying to raise a family and paying $1,500 a month for health insurance is crazy.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you see in your world?
Well, look, I think the bottom line is for anybody, everybody wants to figure out how is it that I'm going to be able to afford retirement at some point in the future? How am I going to get my kids or grandkids through college? How do I make sure I can maximize the amount of wealth that's going to get transferred from one generation to the next? So the problems that you're talking about, I think we all kind of deal with. And ultimately, you have to figure out how are you going to afford to pay those bills? And there are no easy answers. Certainly, you know, even with things like health insurance, it's a very politicized topic on both sides. And when you talk about student loan debt, one of the things that I do think will be interesting is to see how the education system evolves going forward. I mean, certainly if you look around even right now, there is a remarkable amount of material that you can get access to for free if you're looking to educate yourself on whatever the topic might be. There are a lot of Ivy League institutions that are basically offering many of their courses for free online, and other websites that are out there that are offering free information where you can basically learn almost anything for free or for a very reasonable cost. So if student loan debt is a big concern, there are other options if you really didn't want to take on that student loan debt. But, you know, certainly it's an investment like anything else. I mean,
my name is Justin Clark. That is Allie Mack right over there. To her left, Orlando radio legend Mick Dolan. We've got the beautiful Brianna behind the scenes. You're listening to Behind the Law. We're talking to our good friend today. His name is Mike Brodsky. Mike, let me ask you the tough question. I'm sorry, we have to do it. If you were a real estate agent, I'd say, how do you see the real estate market over the next 6 months? You're in finance. You're a financial advisor. You went to Yale, for crying out loud. You're a smart guy. As we end 2018, head into 2019, what are you seeing with the stock market over the next few months?
I will leave it at this. When you're talking about investing, I always look for the opportunities. You know, certainly as you look at the market, no one has a crystal ball that's going to be able to predict exactly what the market's going to do in the next several months. But as an investor, I think if you look at what's out there, you can figure out, where do I need to be investing my money? What are the best opportunities to be investing into certain stocks or certain bonds or certain real estate investment trusts or precious metals or commodities, and ultimately building a portfolio that is diversified, that's in line with your risk tolerance, that is in line with your long-term goals and objectives, and making sure that you keep an eye on that and look for ways to keep improving that over time. And that's really, as an investor, what you have to focus on. So I think it's more important to look at that as an individual, more so than trying to predict what's the market going to do. I know that's a very vague question that nobody really can answer.
See, Justin's got some money he wants to invest.
Yeah,
and he
right.
needs a good, you know, advisor.
Well, give me a call. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we do get a lot of questions here on the show about the differences between a 401k, an IRA, a Roth IRA. Can you give us sort of a Cliff's Notes version so we know kind of where to put our money?
The bottom line is it sort of comes down to what your income level is and what you're eligible for. Does your company offer a 401k, or are you on your own and that may not be an option to you? There are always places you can put the money. When in doubt, talk to a good financial advisor, but I will mention that if you do check out, there's a chapter in my book that does kind of cover some of the basics, including that topic. So I think the book does a better job of answering it than I could do in a few seconds here.
Hey, all right, one more time. How do I get the book?
The book is available at Amazon. Amazon.com, or if you go to Barnes & Noble. It's also available for download to Kindle through Amazon, or for download to iBooks through the iTunes Store. Also, little insider tip here, if you go to incrementalimprovements.com, you can actually download the PDF version for free. So for anybody who's trying to save a couple of bucks, you can get the PDF version absolutely free at incrementalimprovements.com.
And Mike Brodsky, how do I reach out to you for financial advice? Give me the website, Facebook. How do I reach out?
Sure. Go to www.ameriprise.com.co. That's ameriprise.com.co. And that'll take you right to my page. Also, you can sort of find me on Facebook. My personal page is at facebook.com/Mike Brodsky FL, and the author page is facebook.com/incremental improvements, and the financial advisory page is facebook.com/Michael.e.Brodsky.
Real quick, we only have a minute, but I want all three of your advice on this thing. I want to start reading things other than ESPN.com. I want to read books, but there's so many different ways to get that information now, whether it's Kindle or buying a book. Allie Mac, what do you do?
I like buying actual books that I can hold, flip pages, make notes on, flip. I don't think this, for me, will ever go out of style.
Yeah. Mick Dolan?
This book will never go away. It'll always be there. You can't change it.
Right.
You can't do anything to it. It's there.
Brianna, how do you get your information book-wise? Online? Does that mean
Millennial.
Kindle, or what do you do? What? Kindle? So the Kindle. What about you, Mike? How do you read your books?
You know, I got to admit, audio CDs are kind of a good way to cheat a little bit. Kind of when you're in the car, just kind of get some knowledge that way.
That's right.
Though I know a lot of people do Audible.com. I haven't actually signed up for that yet, but you know,
Mike
books on
Brodsky,
CD.
thank you for being here, sir. You're welcome to join us anytime. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Not that you really need it. Allie Mac, excellent work today.
Thank you.
Are you going to bring that little elf thing every day, or is this a one-time shot?
No, it's just here for today, and then he'll be somewhere else tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Good.
She ships it around. to
We have
different
we
locations.
have one as well, and I'm very unhappy about that also. She said we're taking pictures with it tomorrow, like a whole photo shoot with our elf, and I'm like, I'm not joining that.
That's going to be cool.
For the beautiful Brianna, for Allie Mac, Mick Dolan. I don't know much, but I do know one little thing.
What's that?
I'm going to see you right back here tomorrow night on Bud 94.1.
Whoa, a call.
A caller,
get the call.
a viewer's calling us.